caught my wife cheating, but when I decided to pack my bags and leave, she said something I will never forget for the rest of my life. The silence in our bedroom felt heavier than any argument we had ever had. It was the kind of silence that made the room feel smaller, like the walls themselves were slowly closing in on me as I stared at the suitcase lying open on our bed. Just an hour earlier, I had come home early from work. I wanted to surprise my wife Emily for our anniversary. I imagined her smiling when I walked through the door, but instead of a celebration, I found her in our bed with a man I had trusted for years. My best friend from high school. I didn't scream. I didn't start a fight. And I didn't stay around long enough to hear whatever excuses they were already preparing. Instead, I walked quietly to the closet and started pulling my clothes from the shelves. My hands were shaking so badly that every shirt I touched felt rough against my skin. Behind me, Emily stood near the door wrapped in a sheet. Her expression was strange, part guilt, part irritation. "Liam, please," she said. "It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything." But the way she said it didn't sound like regret. It sounded more like someone annoyed that they had been caught. I said nothing. I placed my laptop, my passport, and a few personal documents into the side pocket of my suitcase. When I pulled the zipper closed, the sound felt final, like the end of something that could never be repaired. The betrayal wasn't just about what I had seen. It was the realization that the last 5 years of my life had been built on lies. I had worked overtime to help pay for Emily's master's degree. I supported her every time she wanted to change careers or chase a new opportunity. And this was the anniversary gift she had prepared for me. I closed the suitcase and turned toward her. My face was calm, but inside I felt completely empty. "I'm leaving, Emily," I said quietly. "My lawyer will contact you about the house and the rest of the assets." There was no anger in my voice, no drama, just finality. I grabbed the handle of my suitcase and walked toward the door, ready to leave that house forever. But before I could reach the hallway, Emily suddenly stepped in front of me. The fake tears disappeared from her face instantly. Her eyes turned sharp and cold. "You think you can just walk out?" she shouted. "You think you're the victim here?" Her voice echoed through the house. "You're nothing without me, Liam. I only did it because you're boring and predictable. You can't even keep your own wife interested." She moved closer until her face was only inches from mine. Then she said something that made the entire world stop. "I'm pregnant," she said. "And the baby isn't yours." For a moment I couldn't breathe. "And guess what?" she continued with a cruel smile. "Your name is still on the marriage certificate. You're going to pay for everything." The words hit me like a punch to the stomach, but after the shock faded, something else replaced it. Clarity. A cold, calm realization. Emily stood there smiling like she had just trapped me for the next 18 years. But she had forgotten something important. I was the one who handled all of our insurance paperwork and medical records. "Is that right, Emily?" I said quietly. My calm tone seemed to make her more uncomfortable than if I had shouted. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I simply walked past her, grabbed my car keys, and left the house. 2 hours later, I was sitting alone in my office going through documents Emily didn't even know existed. One of them was a medical report from a routine test I had taken 3 months earlier while applying for a life insurance policy. The result was clear. A childhood illness had left me completely sterile. I couldn't have children. I had been planning to talk to Emily about adoption someday. I just hadn't found the right moment yet. Now that secret had become something else entirely. Proof. I didn't call Emily. Instead, I sent the medical report to my attorney along with the footage from our home security camera that showed my so-called best friend entering the house earlier that day. Emily thought the law would force me to support her betrayal. She was about to discover that the truth can be far more powerful. I checked into a hotel that night and ordered a drink while my phone filled with desperate messages from her. A week later, things started falling into place. My lawyer filed for an annulment based on fraud, using my medical records as proof that the child could never be mine. The long divorce process Emily expected never even happened. Meanwhile, the friend she chose over me disappeared the moment he heard about the pregnancy. Suddenly, she had no support, and everyone in our social circle knew exactly what had happened. I moved into a small new apartment. For the first time in years, the air felt clean, free from the smell of her perfume and the weight of constant stress. And that's when I realized something important. Her betrayal didn't destroy my life. It set me free. I used the money from selling the house to finally start the travel photography business I had always dreamed about but kept postponing for her career. Now my life finally belonged to me. I wasn't the failure she thought I was. I was someone who survived the storm and walked out stronger. The silence in my life wasn't heavy anymore. It was peaceful. And it was full of possibility. If you discovered that your entire life was built on lies, would you stay to face the truth or walk away and choose your freedom? And before you go, remember that nearly 90% of people watching our videos haven't subscribed yet. If you enjoyed this story, consider subscribing and check out our next video featuring another shocking Reddit relationship story.